Hey there, bar is open, and today we'll be comparing two SOJUs, the Chamisul Fresh versus Chum-Churum. Hi there, SG Alcohol Guy here, giving you honest reviews on the alcohols that I am tasting. And it seems that SOJU seems to be picking up in popularity somewhat. The Jinro Chamisul and the Lotte Chilsung Chum-Churum. And you have ever dined in any South Korean restaurant in South Korea, these two are always available on the menu, right? Of course, they do tend to cost the same, but here in Singapore, the pricing is a little bit different. The Jinro Chamisul Fresh is retailing at around 12.90 Singapore dollars per bottle. For that, you will get a 360 ml bottle with 16.9% alcohol content. Whereas for the Lotte Chilsung Chum-Churum, this is retailing at around 15 Singapore dollars per bottle. For that, you will also get a 360 ml bottle, but with 16.5% alcohol content. So they're very similar in alcohol content, 16.9 versus 16.5. But let's see how different the taste can get. Starting with the Jinro Chamisul. And it's a Korean thing to shake the bottle and tap the bottom after that, because the old distillation methods for SOJUs tend to leave a lot of sediment at the bottom. So these will actually allow the sediments to rise. As you can see, there's some effervescence at the top here. And what people will do then is, after they open the bottle, they usually tap the neck for the sediments to fall out. Of course, with the modern production methods, there's no such sediments, but the habits still stay. Now, the Chum-Churum. And if you notice, both bottles look very similar, both in the color and the shape of the bottles itself, right down to the bottle caps. There was actually a gentleman's agreement that all SOJU makers produce using the same bottles. That's in order to help with the nation's recycling efforts. But in the past few years, there's more and more different types of bottles appearing, and we'll visit that in another video. And if you've watched my previous video on how to drink SOJU, there's pretty much two ways to do it. One is neat, and number two, well, that's where the beer mugs come in. So stay tuned for that. And as per the video of how to drink SOJU, the rule is pretty simple. You fill up a shot glass and drink it in one gulp. But I will not be nosing the SOJUs. If you try it, you will tend to realize that it does smell like some form of disinfectant. It makes you want to, spray it around the house to sanitize the house. So I don't recommend nosing the SOJU. Just go straight for the taste. And with that, Chamisul Fresh first. Now, SOJU is an acquired taste because if you're not used to the taste, especially as a first drink, it comes across as a very harsh drink. You will feel the alcohol burn, and it will slowly envelop your mouth, down the throat, down the stomach. Really good for cold weather, but there's that disinfectant taste, which for some reason becomes more pleasant over time. But if you drink it for the first time ever, it will resemble disinfectant. You're normal. But having it a few more times, I will tell you that the Jinro Chamisul comes across as a little bit sweet. It's quite light in your mouth, other than the burn. It's quite light flavored. You won't really taste the alcohol. You can feel it, but you won't really taste it. And it's slightly sweet. I can actually feel the sweetness playing around in my teeth. So it's quite easy to drink. And they call it fresh. It does give a fresh feeling. But let's see how the Chum-Churum compares. Taste test. The Chum-Churum tastes even sweeter without the alcohol burn. So the taste and texture wise is very similar, both are almost identical, but where the fresh, was feeling very light and comfortable coming down, and apart from that slight alcohol burn, the Chum-Churum has no such burn whatsoever. It's a very smooth drinking spirit. In fact, the Chum-Churum gives sort of an aftertaste. It's like a barley aftertaste. I know it's made of rice, but it just gives me the impression there's some barley mixed into it. And the taste of barley is at the top of my throat. The Chamisul, no such aftertaste. So comparing these two by itself, I would recommend the Lotte Chilsung Chum-Churum. And now for part 2 of the video. So first off, I have to refill the soju. And of course, the beer. And I'm using a can of Heineken Silver. Now, any beer will do fine, but it's just that if you're drinking this in Korea, soju with beer, the typical Korean brands like Cass beer, Terra, Heights beer, they all come across as very light. So I'm choosing the only light beer that I have in my fridge, which is the Heineken Silver. So starting with a beer, again, pour it a little bit more haphazardly, it's fine. And I'll just fill half a glass because I don't want to drink too much. For both. And a good way to mix it, of course, is to drop this soju glass into the beer mug, but it's going to be very messy. So I'll just pour it gently in. Just spilled some, of course. And Chum-Churum as well. And to ensure that it gets mixed, there you have it, soju with beer or sobic. Also, I want to state that soju is actually a really strong alcoholic drink. It's even deadlier when you mix it with beer. So please drink with caution. Do not go wild on soju. Starting with the Chamisul and beer, it's a very deadly drink because I can taste the beer, but I can't taste the soju. Bear in mind, I poured very little beer in here, and if I still can't taste one whole shot of soju in this glass, this is pretty strong. The aftertaste, everything, just beer. And now, Chum-Churum and beer. Likewise, I also can't taste the soju in the beer. However, the beer became a lot sweeter. So while the Chamisul had zero effect on taste for the beer, Chum-Churum in beer made this beer a lot sweeter. It's a lot more enjoyable actually. So overall, in terms of drinking it by itself or drinking it with beer, my personal recommendation for both is the Chum-Churum. Yeah, thanks for watching up to this point. I just want to state that all these reviews are based on my personal taste, preferences and opinions. They're not to be used as an industry standard. I do, however, want to find out what you think about sojus, the Chamisul, the Chum-Churum, which one do you prefer? Drop me some comments, let's compare some notes. If you're still here, do help me click on the like button, subscribe button and the notification bell because I do try to upload 2 new videos every week. Plus, if you know of anyone interested in watching such reviews, do help me send them the link to the video as well. Most importantly, my friend, happy drinking!